You won't wake up one day and see a robot sitting at your desk. You'll wake up and realize your job got smaller, your pay stopped growing, and the hiring market moved on without you. Because AI doesn't replace office workers in one dramatic moment. It replaces them in a way that feels harmless at first, like tools, productivity, and support. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact reason office workers don't notice replacement until it's too late. The 5-stage pattern that happens before layoffs, before job titles disappear, and before anyone admits what's going on. And by the end, you'll be able to spot which stage you are in right now, so you don't become the person who says, "This came out of nowhere." As you watch, keep one question in your head. If AI can do 40% of what I do, what happens to my leverage? That's the real threat, not being fired, being quietly downgraded. Office workers imagine replacement as something obvious, a layoff email, a department shutdown, a machine taking your job. But what actually happens is much more subtle. It looks like we're rolling out an AI assistant, this will make your job easier, you'll be able to focus on high-level tasks. And that's why people don't panic, because it doesn't feel like a threat, it feels like help. But here's the key. You don't get replaced the day AI arrives. You get replaced the day your work becomes easy to reproduce. So if you're waiting for a headline that says AI replace office workers, you'll miss the actual moment it happens, when your job becomes a bundle of automatable tasks. Stage 1 is the most dangerous because it feels positive. People use AI to draft emails, summarize meetings, create first drafts of documents, structure slides, clean up writing, organize notes, and generate options. And then the silent shift happens. The baseline output expectations change. What used to take 2 hours is now expected in 1. What used to take a day is now expected by lunch. Not because you're lazy, because the workflow changed. And once management sees faster output, they don't think pay more, they think expect more. So office workers stay busy, even busier than before, and they assume that means they're safe. But busyness is not safety. Sometimes busyness is just automation arriving without headcounts dropping yet. If you've noticed speed becoming the main measure of performance, that's stage 1. It doesn't feel like replacement, but it's the beginning of it. Stage 2 is where replacement starts, but nobody calls it replacement. Companies don't fire you, they stop hiring people like you. One person plus AI now covers what 2 people did. This is when you start seeing things like fewer entry-level roles, hiring freeze language, job descriptions asking for more skills for the same pay, longer interview processes, and higher competition per role. And most office workers don't connect the dots. They just think the market's weird. But the market isn't weird. The market is adjusting to new productivity. This is the first too late moment, when you look for a new job and realize the ladder rungs below you vanished. Stage 3 is when your job changes shape. Instead of creating work from scratch, you start supervising AI outputs. AI drafts the email, you edit it. AI summarizes the meeting, you approve it. AI builds the slide outline, you polish it, and AI generates options and you pick one. And at first that feels safe because you're still involved, but this stage is a trap. Because when your job becomes supervision, the company starts measuring you differently. They're no longer paying for your creation, they're paying you for oversight. Oversight is cheaper than creation, oversight is compressible. This is where the pay squeeze begins. You do more, you oversee more, you coordinate more, but your salary doesn't rise with responsibility, it stagnates. If you feel like your job is becoming approve, correct, forward, you are watching the role degrade in time. Stage 4 is where it stops being subtle. A manager realizes they can run the same output with fewer people because AI is doing the heavy lifting. This is when a team of 5 becomes a team of 3. Then 3 becomes 2, then 2 becomes 1. Not because the company hates you, but because the spreadsheet tells them they can. And here's the psychological trick. When this happens, the remaining people feel even more needed because they're carrying more workload. But the truth is, they're needed the way a bridge is needed, until someone builds a better bridge. The danger isn't that you're not valuable, the danger is your value becoming scalable. And once value is scalable, wages get pressured. Stage 5 is the moment people call sudden replacement. But it's not sudden, it's when it becomes visible. You go to apply for a new role and find the salary range is lower than you expected, the job description expects more output for the same pay, the role demands AI proficiency at baseline, and recruiters expect faster turnaround and broader capability. And here's the truth, you're no longer competing with other humans, you're competing with humans plus AI. So your job isn't replaced by AI, it's replaced by someone who can do your job at half the cost and twice the speed because AI is embedded embedded into their workflow. That's why office workers don't notice until it's too late. The replacement isn't a machine, it's a new baseline human. Office work is the perfect target because it's digital, language heavy, template driven, easy to measure, easy to scale, and often just move information, clean it up and send it. And it exists in every industry. So even if your industry feels safe, office tasks inside that industry are still vulnerable. The job title isn't the risk, the task bundle is the risk. So what do you do now? 2 moves. Not motivational, structural. Move 1. Shift from task execution to outcome ownership. If you're paid to produce documents, AI will compress you. If you're paid to own a measurable result, revenue, savings, risk reduction, retention, quality, you're harder to replace because replacement has consequences. Start tying your work to outcomes. Speak in outcomes, measure outcomes, document outcomes. That's leverage. Move 2. Become the person who implements the automation, not the person automated. Most people use AI sometimes. That doesn't change their leverage. The people who stay valuable are the ones who can say, give me the workflow, I'll integrate AI so the team moves faster without breaking quality. That person becomes a multiplier, and multipliers get paid. So office workers won't realize AI is replacing them until it's too late, because replacement doesn't arrive as a firing. It arrives as a sequence. It goes helpful tool to higher expectations, to hiring slows, to your job becomes supervision, to then the team shrinks, then the wages compress, and then the market resets. And the scariest part is you can feel fine through most of it, right up until you try to move jobs and realize the ladder is completely changed. If you want some clarity, drop your job role in the comments and what you actually do day to day. I'll reply to you roughly where it sits on the AI timeline and what route gives you the best chance of lasting longer. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. I upload daily videos on how AI is taking over office jobs and the best way to increase longevity in your industry. Thank you for watching. I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.